everyone, welcome to another wonderful episode of Pay It Forward. Before we begin, I want to thank you for your love and support. Our previous video on Pay It Forward has garnered so much love and attention. Thank you so much. Now, show more of this love and subscribe to my channel and press that bell icon so that you are notified whenever new videos are uploaded. Okay, so my guest for today is another one of my closest friends and a phenomenal writer, Aparna Salvi Nagda. So I met Aparna for the very first time, yes, you guessed it right, on Penmancy. Penmancy is where all the magic is happening and you get to meet such beautiful people and such talented writers and readers. By the way, if you haven't watched the video where I was talking about Penmancy and all the beautiful things that they are doing, go ahead and check this video out. If you are a writer and if you are a reader, an author, anyway connected to the print industry, I'm sure you will find it useful. So we met on Penmancy and almost 2 years later down the line, we are the best of friends and we are each other's inspiration when it comes to writing. I'm sure that most of you have heard Aparna's big announcement earlier this week, and that's what we will be talking about in this video. But we will also be talking about Aparna's writing journey, her inspirations, what she likes to read, what she hates and much more. चलिए फिर मिले अपर्णा से. चलो. Hi Aparna, thank you for coming to Pay It Forward. I am so happy that finally I'm getting to talk to one of my best friends. I think Aparna has some really great news which we will talk about a little later in the video. Welcome to Pay It Forward, Aparna.
Thank you so much, Monica.
So I have a set of questions for you, but before we delve into those questions, let us start with talking a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about who Aparna is, what do you do, where do you live, all of those things.
Okay, so who Aparna is, I'm in that quest of finding out actually. So I discover something new about myself every day, but if I have to give a biodata kind of a structured answer, then yes, I am a homeopath, a consulting homeopath by day. I practice. I'm also an entrepreneur. I run my coaching classes here in Dombivli and also a biology teacher. Apart from that, you have seen that I have been writing now over a period of 3 to 4 years. Apart from that, I'm a crazy human being, who likes to observe people, and that is where my stories come from. People, situations, and circumstances. That is where my stories come from.
That's pretty interesting because in the last episode I was talking to Natasha, and this was one of the reasons that she says about herself is that she likes to observe people. And I think writers में ना ये बहुत ही ज़्यादा common है that we are people observers. जैसे लोग bird watching करते हैं वैसे हम people watching करते हैं.
Yeah, I remember my husband is doing something on the phone and he is doing this, and I'm looking at him and I'm like, क्या देख रहे हो? पहली बार देख रहे हो क्या हमको? No. Then he said, dare if you write anything about me on the Facebook. So people get scared, in a party, and I'm lost. I'm looking at people. So then my husband is nudging, "Kurna band karo, stop nothing," like staring. I'm staring at them.
And this is an art, okay, that we actually need to practice like a lot so that we are staring at somebody and they don't get to know that we are staring at them. Because then otherwise obviously situations get a little awkward. So one of the most important questions I think anybody can ask a writer is why you write. And that's what I want to know. Why do you write, Aparna?
I don't know why I write, because I have been doing it since the time I wanted to express myself. So maybe that is the way. I always find communication or talking to people a lot troubling, because in a spurt of moment, we say things which we regret later on. So I have always found writing as a way of being, calm, composed, organizing your own ideas, and then putting it forward somebody. So I had this habit of writing letters to my parents as well, because if there has been some problem and I feel I have not been able to convince them over a particular situation, I have written it out to them. So maybe after that thing has settled down, they go back, they read it, and they understand the deeper meaning. And that is how later on I found that writing fiction, developing a world where I can go and where I can stay without paying no rent or charges for that particular world, free of cost, that world I learned to develop on my own through writing. So yes, writing helps me to build a world which I want to live in.
Wow, that's profound, yeah. That's what we are doing, right? Creating world.
I should sound profound, Monica, because now I behave like a writer.
Yeah, unintentionally as well. It is very, very profound, because that's what artists everywhere are doing. They are creating worlds where they want to live in, the kind of worlds that they want to live in.
So on that note, Monica, I want to know why you write, because you are also a writer and I have always been on this side of the screen. So that's going to be this itch of asking you back, because I think all of us want to know why you write. Oh, I'm off tracking, but yes, I want to know that.
Okay. So I think, so when I was really, really young, I did not really have many friends. तो वो जो एक कनेक्शन होता है ना, ह्यूमन टू ह्यूमन वाला कनेक्शन होता है, वो नहीं था मतलब. तो we were not the kind of kids who were actually kind of encouraged to intermingle in society and to talk to people. तो वो एक कमी को भरने के लिए I started writing, because obviously everybody wants to talk, everybody wants to feel like they are being listened to. And that's actually why I started writing like diary entries or whatever, like stories, chote dialogues or whatever. That's how I started writing. And then I found books, I found reading, and it just kind of hit me. I don't know, I was very young to understand this at that point of time, but it kind of hit me that ये जो books जो हम अब पढ़ रहे हैं, 10 साल 20 साल पहले, 40 साल पहले, 200 साल पहले, people have written these books. And I am reading it now, and those people are kind of speaking to me through words. They are no more here, but they are speaking to me through words. And this is what I want. Like, मैं हूँ या नहीं हूँ, लेकिन मेरे words रहने चाहिए कि लोगों को पता चले कि मैं कौन थी. Even if I am not able to kind of say who I am, I can write it down. And people can just kind of understand कि, okay, there was this person who wrote this, and they can connect to my words in the same way that I connected to those words that I read when I was a kid. So that's why I write.
So trying to have your literary footprints.
True. Yeah, everybody wants to leave a legacy, and probably this is what ours is going to be, and not a bad one at that.
Absolutely.
So moving on, back to you in the hot seat, okay? So I want to know if you can remember it. What was your first achievement in writing? Not the first story that you wrote, but the first achievement where you felt, okay, I can write and people can relate to my words.
So I remember that I still have this habit of picking up greeting cards for people, my closed ones. I still love walking into a gallery, photo gallery or a Archie's gallery, and spending an hour or so, going through the myriad of greeting cards that are available. And I always feel that whatever they have written is insufficient to tell what I want to say to that opposite person. Mm-hmm. So I remember when I started writing short poems for my friends when I was in college. That was when, and writing something quirky about them. They still keeping those cards and telling me कि जो आर्चीज वालों ने लिखा था ना यार, वो तो सबके लिए था, but जो तूने लिखा था वो सिर्फ हमारे लिए था. So that is the point I was appreciated for writing something which is very individualistic and something which they could connect. So years after, when they open those cards which I have gifted them, they remember what they were 10 years back. Okay. So that is the first recognition I would say that I got for writing short verses for my friends. And then later on, they encouraged me to write. I used to read a lot of non-fiction initially self-help, non-fiction, and then I started writing for my college magazines, and then the editorial team selecting it as a part of the magazine, your teachers reading it, professors reading it and appreciating. So that's how it started. But yes, it started with small notes, greeting cards, and चलता ही जा रहा है.
ब्यूटीफुल. जब वो लिखते थे तभी स्टार्टिंग में ऐसे नहीं लगा होगा ना कभी कि अच्छा दिस इज समथिंग दैट आई वुड बी डूइंग, लाइक दिस इज समथिंग दैट वुड बी ऑक्यूपाइंग अ लॉट मोर ऑफ माय टाइम देन इट इज नाउ. ऐसे कभी नहीं लगा होगा ना उस टाइम.
That time, no, Monica. That time, I don't think I ever thought, but I still remember we had gone for a picnic with my students. Okay, we have this annual picnic about 4-5 years back. Okay, and we had a campfire, and in that campfire, we were asking each other, "Ki 10 years down the line, how do you imagine?" I mean, it was basically a question for the students, to stimulate their thinking. Ki bhai, kya karoge 10 saal ke baad? They asked me, "Ki ma'am, where do you see yourself?" So that time writing was not on the thing, but I just said ki 10-15 years down the line I want to give lectures and I want to be signing, autographing my autograph copies, So they asked me, "Ma'am, kiske upar likhoge?" I said, "I don't know yaar, I just threw a wish in the universe." And somehow later on, after I threw that wish, 2 years, then pandemic happened, there was space, there was time, there was turmoil, there was so much, and I started writing, and I see I am on that path to signing autographed copies. That memory, I still have that, crackling fire, that warmth, and those students, and we all are bundled up and we are asking each other कि 10 साल के बाद क्या करेंगे. मुझे नहीं पता था कि वो मुझे पूछेंगे. They will ask me, if this
just like you asked me right now.
A caught off guard kind of thing, and suddenly that came, and then that whole night, I went back to my room and I'm thinking कि are you crazy? मतलब signing autograph copies, मतलब क्या मतलब ऐसा. And then now more recently, I read this book called as Potato, literally pie wala.
Potato peas.
Yeah. And the protagonist of this particular novel, she's a writer, okay, and the kind of life she has, her publisher is waiting for her. There is an event happening there. Her manager is telling her कि यहाँ जाना है, वहाँ जाना है. So this is the kind of calls where I'll कल का appointment crosswords में, परसों का out crosswords में, उसके बाद का बड़ौदा crosswords में. My chart is so clear that I just have to appoint a manager and a book has to be ready.
It is going to be even more, full. Your calendar is going to be even more full in the coming months. And so ever since, those small little verses that you wrote in your greeting cards to now, so many years later, how do you feel that you have changed as a writer? What is the most drastic change that you have observed within yourself?
I have learned more of technical aspects of writing. To learn any art and craft, I think I should thank Penmancy for this, because I believe that I'm the best. लिखना मतलब क्या है? लिखना मतलब क्या? तुमको बस you should just have that kind of a spark and you start writing. Without caring that there has to be a beginning, a middle, an end, and there has to be grammar, punctuations. Okay, तो ये सब तो हमारे था ही नहीं, because you are born best. Okay, that is when Penmancy and the whole group brought me to a level कि boss, writing is one thing, shaping, structuring, screwing the loose ends, all those things, वो सब एक प्रॉपर जगह पे होना चाहिए. And then Miss Natasha Sharma walks into my life and she says, "You are a writer. Go back to your N.N. Martin. वो पहले देख लो थोड़ा बहुत, उसकी शक्ल देख और फिर अपनी शक्ल एज अ राइटर दिखाओ." So it was कि पहले N.N. Martin देखो, अपने punctuations देखो, and then Miss Monica Singh walks into my life and tells, "Aparna, comma is your best friend." So Aparna starts thinking about it कि why I have not, there is a sentence which has been written like a whole paragraph and not a single comma in it. Boss, तुम तो लिख रहे हो, सामने वाले को ब्रीथ करने का मौका तो दो कि while reading. So as a writer, that has been a turning point to bring technicalities, to bring a lot of structure shape to your writing, organized way. I think I should thank Kajal also for this, because when I used to ask my queries, I used to like, hey, pata na ye kya hai? Which used to let's say, could you please help me find meaning to this sentence? Could you please help me see light at the end of this particular thing? ऐसा कौन बात करता है? But then I realized it's so important to talk like this, because when you talk like this, you are respecting the opposite person's space, opposite person's writing, opposite person's suggestion being given to you. Otherwise, I used to like, bata na ye kya hai? Jokes apart, so I think Natasha, Monica, and Kajal have been instrumental in particularly other all writers as well. वो लोग भी थे. Anamika ma'am, who has always told me how to pronounce stuff and how to use a particular word in a particular context and all. But these three teachers were like teachers, not friends.
Teachers of a teacher we are. To think that from those days of writing greeting cards and small verses and those greeting cards to today, where you have learned so much about writing and you have improved yourself as a writer, to right now, the big announcement that Aparna has just signed a contract of her first book, and she's going to be a published author very, very soon. So I'm going to open the floor to Aparna now.
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Aparna Salvi Nagda, and I'm so excited to share with you all that my debut novel has been picked up by the very able Vishwakarma Publications. Tentatively, this particular novel will be called as the Labyrinth of Silence. Why Labyrinth of Silence? Because this book deals with the silence kept by a parent over the child sexual abuse and how this particular silence affects the other individuals that this person meets. It's a story that is based in a small city of Belgaum in Karnataka, and this story will also have a background of the Belgaum-Karnataka dispute. Belgaum is a small little city on the borders of Karnataka and Maharashtra, and since the 90s it has been in the conflict of which particular state will have rights over it. So how this conflict, the political conflict, affects the individuals of this novel and how they structure their lives around it, how they go about their lives when this particular conflict is happening to all the people. Now there are three characters who are lead, but one of the character is physiologically, anatomically, you can say, mute. Silence is the core of this novel. This particular novel was actually written for the Novella Challenge, Telethon Challenge that was conducted by Penmancy in the year 2021, August 2021, I suppose. I never had anything in mind as such that I want to write a novel, but I had taken that step further from writing short stories to something more broader, more words. So that was a novella challenge that I took up, and after I wrote that novella, at the end of it, because it had word constraint where we had to wrap up with 15k words, I felt that there was still more to my characters. My characters were still speaking to me, and I decided that I will take it as long as I can. I never knew that it would be a novel, and then I received feedback from Penmancy and their able editors, one of whom was Monica Singh, and the feedback that I received, it helped me to again go back, revisit that particular section, and from then onwards, this novel was taken ahead and it took the form of a full-fledged novel. I can go on about this, but I need to control, restrict, because soon I hope by the year end, the novel will see daylight, and I hope you all will read it.
Aparna, I'm really, really happy for you that Vishwakarma has picked up this beautiful story, because as you said, I loved it. The first time I read your very first draft, or let's call it the zero draft, when I first read it, it just blew my mind away, and I knew that these characters had a lot more to say. These characters had a lot of story behind them that needed to come out, and I'm really, really happy that you developed it and expanded it into a novel. All the best to you, and I'm super, super excited for this to come out.
Thank you, thank you.
Aparna, now that you have made the big announcement, what kind of a timeline? You said that by the end of next year, what is the timeline that you are looking for this book to be published?
This year, 2023, year end, I hope the editors will start working on it. I have received a confirmation from my editor, Nupur Jain, a sweet little girl from Vishwakarma. Very soon she's going to pick it up for the editing and further cover page and all that purposes. So by year end, I think, yes, we have to see the book.
That's great. Because before that happens, we will meet again and we will do another session with Aparna very close to the launch, and we will come back to this video and see all her reactions right now and her reactions in the future.
So maybe you won't find me in that video because I must be somewhere down there dancing. The book to launch ho gaya, kind of, and only Monica will be here. People will have to hold and make me sit and like behave yourself, kind of.
In the meantime, till it comes, do you think about, I'll be visiting this literature festival, I'll be invited to that event, I'll be giving this kind of speech? Do you think of all this? What do you feel like? I want to ask.
Why are you showing me the carrot? Damn, Monica, yaar. मतलब तुमको नहीं मालूम? I have an Excel sheet, boss. I have listed down the kind of literary festivals I want to go to. To be very structured, I'll share this with other writers. I know it is very personal. People do it in various ways. The day I started writing and I saw that I crossed the 30K mark of my book, and I knew now कि भाई 30K हो गया है, now this will go to 50 and 60K. I told my husband that I'm opening a bank account where I will be putting money only that I will be spending for my book, the promotions, the places that I will go to. Every month I would be saving specifically. So he said, why is it necessary? So I said, no, it is necessary because there are too many things that I'm ambitious about this book and I'll be doing. So I have started from there itself. 2 years back, I created a bank account and I started putting money into it. Don't ask me what the amount is because I've been withdrawing it as well. So that's where I started. And then, yes, I have been looking at literary festivals. The one that I know I want to go is PILF because that was my first literary festival and it is very close to my heart. Book signing, I'll go to Kitab Khana, I will be going to Tidal Waves, I'll be going everywhere, wherever possible. Human life exists, people read books, and
wherever civilization exists, Aparna is there signing your books.
Yes, and there. No, that main bank account is the real villain here, So wherever that bank account allows me at that particular moment and tells me, yes, you can. So yes, I have that thing in my mind.
That's amazing. This is the kind of prep that you actually need to do because now it's been 2 years since you are mentally prepared for this book, for the launch, for the kind of effort that you are going to put into marketing this book on your own and with conjunction with your publisher as well. So that's beautiful, and I think everybody should be doing this because promotions do cost a bomb, and it is a very, very heavy thing on your pocket. So better be prepared and better be that kind of prepared ki, okay, this is where I want to go, this is where I do not want to go. That's beautiful. Even I haven't started doing that. I should start doing that.
It's Monica because I'm at a stage in life where I am building a career for my son. So he is a priority. This is my second inning in life, okay? And for second innings, that might not always be on your priority list. So as a parent, I have to first save for my son, wherever he wants to go, what he wants to do. I'm speaking it from the heart of a parent. So I thought that writing is just not sufficient. If I just write and if that book is not into right hands, there's no point because maybe then I'll feel very upset and maybe with that one book, the journey might end. Which happens with many writers. They feel I gave my heart and soul to this, but I don't have reviews or I don't have any kind of support for this book. And that's when I said that money is very, very important, that I chalk out my finances before I present this book to a publisher because that time I never knew that a traditional publisher will take it. And I had this in mind कि कोई ले ना ले, मेरे को तो publish करना है. Being financially prepared and also mentally is more important because you are a debut writer. So you are somebody who has to establish and invest. So investing, thinking about your finances is very essential because writing happens. Writing can happen at 12 midnight. It can happen at 6 in the morning. But your finances don't grow in a day or in a year as well.
That's true. Very, 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 very true. And a lot of practical insight into what goes into finally being able to market yourself and your work out there. This is super important, and for everybody who's watching, and if you are into the writing industry, and if you're planning to go into the writing industry, this is something that you should be thinking about and you should be planning for it. Thank you, Aparna, for sharing that. Acha, end of the video, please tell me how much money you have saved. Okay. So what are you working on right now in the meantime? Are you working on new projects, new books?
I've already started writing my second novel because that whole process, 6 months, 8 months, whatever, that kind of impatience that develops is something that kills you. And then you keep putting messages to your publisher, your editor, bhai mera number kab aayega, mera number kab aayega. They are also occupied with something, and it's not that they are just available for you. And with traditional publishing, I would say it takes a lot of time because they are not charging you a single rupee for what they are doing with your work, right? From editing to cover page. And that is why I would suggest that debut authors should wait till they grab that right deal. It could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, it could be 4 years, because a traditional publisher will only look at your talent, your writing, your concept. No doubt a traditional publisher also looks at it from a point of view of a business, a money-making business, but they are there out in the market. Quality matters for their brand. It takes a lot of time. So that time, could be very mentally disturbing. That impatience can eat you up. So I'm already started working, and I'm happy that I'm 15K down with my second project. I don't know when that project will start doing things, but so I'm doing the second book already to keep myself occupied, keep myself sanely occupied.
Yeah, I know. Because once you sign the contract, you're like, yaar, kab hoega? It kind of eats you up, and I'm very glad that you are, using that energy and putting it into something constructive by writing your second novel. And I'm sure by the end, by the time the first novel launches, your second will already be in a zero draft or first draft stage.
क्या पसंद है तुमको? मतलब रसगुल्ले खिलाओ कि गुलाब जामुन खिलाओ कि मतलब क्या? मतलब whatever say. Okay, whatever you say, कि if by the time my first novel launches, my draft 0 is ready, nothing like it.
Very. I have a rapid fire. Let's do the rapid fire thing.
मतलब this is karma repeating on me, यार. मतलब ये जो मैंने लोगों के साथ किया है ना, ये इसी जन्म में इसका जवाब देकर जाना है.
वो तो है ही ना.
मेरे को नहीं मालूम था इतनी जल्दी उसका जवाब देना पड़ेगा.
I'll be asking questions and you need to like be very instant about your answer.
And I get that coffee with Karan ka hamper in the end.
The only thing that you get is coverage and paid forward.
Much important because coffee with Karan तो nepotism है यार. हम तो यहाँ पे
हाँ, मेरे यहाँ पे कोई nepotism नहीं है. नहीं, बिल्कुल भी नहीं. Okay, let's start. Reading or writing?
Reading.
Writing or editing?
Writing.
I can see your editing.
Editing तुम कर लो यार. ऐसे तुम्हारे जैसे फ्रेंड्स क्यों पाल के रखे मैंने?
Alright, next question. Writing or procrastinating?
Writing.
Great. You have much more energy than I have because my answer will always be procrastination.
No, there is a term I invented. Okay, let me be very specific. I invented a terminology called as ruins of procrastination.
Oh, wow.
And Natasha Sharma will give you details on what it is. She told me this is utter rubbish. जाके उसको flush it in the toilet. अच्छे 2-3 बार flush कर लेना. There is nothing called as ruins of procrastination. But I have my own terminology called as ruins of procrastination. So I don't live there.
I love it. Ruins of procrastination. I will write a story on this.
बोलना मतलब you love it. खत्म, तुम्हारी और नताशा की दोस्ती खत्म.
Next question is your favorite book right now?
Right now, I read Inheritance of Loss by Kiran Desai and I loved the book. Literary fiction है, character development बहुत बढ़िया है. There are 5-6 characters only in the book and fantastic. It is Booker winner. 2005 she was awarded Booker for this. Currently, that is one book that I'm loving.
Beautiful. I could never read that book. पता है क्या? I could never read it. I don't know why. मेरे को पढ़ा ही नहीं गया वो book.
पता है. Like that कौन सा वो सलमान रश्दी Midnight Children.
I read that one. I have read it.
I attempted it from अलग-अलग cover books. मतलब I thought कि यार ये इतना profound book है, लोग इसके बारे में इतना बोल रहे हैं. But then after some time I thought कि reading, मतलब why I have to push myself to read also something, which I don't.
True. If you don't like it, just remove it from your TBR and move on to the next. Okay. All-time favorite book.
That has to be mine.
Okay. Done. It is your book. All-time
Because
favorite.
somebody had told me, write the first draft, go to the edit only after 2 to 3 months. Edit करने के लिए go to it only after 2-3 months. If you still like what you have written, then you must go for the third edit, otherwise it goes to your recycle bin. So every time I read, I'm not self-marketing, but I love that person who had written 2 years back, whoever that Aparna was, whatever she had written 2 years back, I still love reading that thing. So
and many other people are going to be loving that story because it is, it deserves all the love that it garners in the future. So yes, definitely. Next question is favorite genre to read in?
Literary fiction.
Oh wow.
Literary.
Okay, yeah. I know that.
Contemporary. Yes, contemporary. And I think I have not read much of thrillers, murder mysteries, crime. 1 or 2 books and I'm done. But literary book, anything at the end of the day, it has to be either The God of Small Things or it has to be Clear Light of the Day by Anita Desai. ये सारे books है. Amitabh Ghosh.
Right. And kind of shows also in your writing because your writing as well has that literary fiction kind of a style. So
correct.
No wonder you like that genre. Alright. Favorite genre to write in? Is it literary fiction? Same.
I read and I write the same.
What's so sorted in your head कि ये पढ़ना है और यही लिखना है? हमारा तो कब जगह है फैला हुआ है राइटिंग की जैसे.
I started writing poetry, but the moment I realized कि मेरे को poetry is not my cup of tea, or it does not interest me much to write. Yes, to read, I do love reading poetry. I'm currently reading Sonal's
Islands in the Street.
I'm reading that currently, so I love to read. But मैंने सोचा भाई poetry is not my domain. I never attempt exercises related to that. If there is somebody who sends me a prompt which has a thriller or a murder mystery, I don't attempt because I feel I have still not mastered that. Let me take one genre and let me master it. I don't write everything and anything. जो भी आता है वो नहीं. I'm very selective.
I recently attended an interview session with some author, I don't remember. उन्होंने भी यही बोला था कि if you know your voice, if you know what you would like to read and what you would like to write, then expand on it. एक बार आपने वो master कर लिया, then move on to other genres and other things that you would like to try your hand in. But अगर आपको पता ही नहीं है कि आपकी voice क्या है or what is it that you would like to write, then experiment with everything and in the process you will find out what you want to do.
Let me confess, till date I have never read an Agatha Christie because I tried reading. I have this huge book, I can show you, it's still there in my library. It does not excite me. It does not excite me. There was a time that Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew did excite as a teenager, but अब वो भी नहीं करता. Abhi it is more of something which is very deep, goes very layer. People say it's very boring, but that is my kind of.
Every reader has their own preferences, and I know because मेरे ना phases होते हैं. मतलब I read everything. मतलब ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है जो मैं नहीं पढ़ती हूँ. But मेरे phases होते हैं. My mind has to be in the right phase of that state where I can absorb whatever literary fiction is trying to tell me, because there is a lot going on in literary fiction. एक तो superficial story रहती है, एक उसके नीचे वाली story रहती है, जो layers upon layers of meaning रहता है. तो उसके लिए I need to be a certain state of mind.
Maybe like you're talking about certain stage of mind, maybe I'm in that certain stage of life.
You are.
So that middle age wherever I am at 36, so 36. So I have been like that. मतलब थोड़ा 2 years, beyond. My parents also feel कि है क्या इधर बराबर है क्या ये?
You know what people call people like you who you are very into philosophy and everything. We call them old souls. So you have an old soul. Alright, moving on to the next rapid fire question, which is not turning out to be rapid in any way. What is your least favorite genre to read or write? The very least, like सब कुछ try कर लेंगे पर ये नहीं try करेंगे.
Crime.
You have to make an exception for my book because my book
Yes, I know that, and that is why I'm not reading much of crime books so that I can preserve that kind of virginity for your book.
I'm a crime virgin. Fine, it's fine with me. Alright, if you could spend one day with one of your most favorite authors, who would it be?
अभी के लिए तो ना, don't give me a chance of one because I have 4 women whom I want to spend my day, and I literally spend. So it is Miss Natasha Sharma, Monica Singh, Khushbu Shah, and Sangeeta Balan. I want to spend my day, my life with these awesome women, not with the authors which I read.
And we would also love to spend time with you. Let's make that plan. Great. You are not at all starstruck. हाँ, मतलब ये एक चीज मैंने नोटिस किया ना, मुंबई में रहने वाले लोग, even I am like that, कि वो जो सेलिब्रिटी वाला जो वो होता है ना कि ओ माय गॉड ये वो स्टार है, उसके साथ में टाइम स्पेंड करना है, वो होता ही नहीं है. हाँ ठीक है भाई, वो भी इंसान है, हम भी इंसान है. Okay, last question of the rapid fire round is, what is it that you hate about writing? One thing that you hate about writing.
Personally, that I don't find that much of time because writing requires a lot of time and it requires a less soundproof room. मतलब ये इंटरव्यू के लिए मैंने कितने जगह पे गार्ड लगाए हैं ना, ताकि there's not a kid barging in, there's no courier boy telling me madam Amazon. So that is not happening right now. So that is the only part I feel कि writing requires. Other all things, chaos में हो जाता है. And when you are 36, you have a family and you have a joint family and you have other responsibilities, that chaos is still there. And finding that little peace is very difficult. जो writing के लिए.
And I think, I really believe that, ये जो retreats होते हैं, जैसे Himalayan writing retreat हो गया, all of those places would be a very good place for you to write. Because your writing has that style, कि nature से inspire हो गए and metaphorical कुछ आपने allegory लिखा है. So all of these things would be very beneficial for you if you can, go sometime.
Oh, bank account. It is not allowing me right now.
अच्छा, first
everything boils down to that bloody bank account.
First book की सेल से जो भी पैसा आएगा ना, वो पैसा लेके ना हिमालयन राइटिंग रिट्रीट चले जाना, ठीक है?
मतलब आया ना तो मैं तुमको भी लेके जाऊँ. I will, वो उतना अगर sufficient हुआ ना, तो I will take you along. Because after some time I'm a person who loves company. मतलब मैं कितने टाइम तो वो रोजा जाने मन खत्म हो जाएगा ना after that Himalaya. Then I need my that crazy gang kind of thing and करने के लिए. So
okay, so before we wrap up this session, one last question for you is, to all the writers out there who would be watching this, to all the people who would be, wanting to get into writing or are already into writing and watching you, do you want to give them some tips?
First, buy my book.
That is very important. Whenever it comes out, please buy Aparna's book.
Yeah. The advantages I'll tell you now. I'll market my book now. And first, you buy my book, you get good reading. Second, you get a good friend. Third, you get a good marketer for you, because I feel my tribe should grow. And whenever any of my friends says that कि यार कुछ कर रहा है, कुछ मतलब book है, तो I'm always pro for it कि हाँ, these are the steps, तो free का एक जो marketing sales का advice है, वो मेरी तरफ से मिलेगा. तो package बहुत बड़ा है, so buy the book. Apart from that, first write a book. आप start moving beyond. We authors, we derive that kind of endorphins from those short prizes that we do. Nothing wrong in it, blogging or writing, but I think we all are meant to write a book, at least one book. I would not say books and books on it, but I think we all should document what we have written. And as Monica, you said that the legacy should continue. So these short book, the short kind of certificates that we get, they have those kind of dependency that we forget writing long term or documenting our writing, structured writing. You are meant for better things, more things. So take that step ahead, write a book for yourself. So there's a book hidden in all of you. Either you write it or you hire Monica Singh to write it, but do get it out.
And I want to add to this that, this very advice that Aparna has given to all of you, she has given to me as well, and I can attest it works. It works. She is the reason why I have completed the zero draft of my novel, because I have been procrastinating about ending it. I just had to write the climax, and I had been procrastinating about it for months. And then Aparna calls me one day and she's like, Monica, write your novel. Don't write articles. Don't write short stories. Write your novel, complete it, and then you can go back to doing whatever you're doing.
When you're practicing it, yes, do write. When you are practice, once you and then there's no end to a practice. Okay, I have seen writers कि अभी तो दिल्ली बहुत दूर है, बहुत time है. See, the time is never going to come. You have to bring that time, and you have to decide कि okay, my 2 years of training or my 4 years of training or my 5 years of training हो गई है. Learning is lifelong. So then you take a call ki, okay, now I can embark on a journey of writing a book. Many of us will say, "Nee, re, I'm not a kind of writer. I don't want to be a novelist or something like that." I said, attempt it. It's a beautiful process. You start discovering about your own self. When I wrote my novel, it taught me patience. It taught me to stay with one emotion for a longer time. It taught me to respect the other writers who write. Otherwise, when I used to review books initially, I used to do random. ये क्या लिखा है, इतना भी नहीं आता, kind of. So, but when I saw the deeper processes involved, I learned to respect the writer who is writing. एक बार कर लो. Once in a while, like people say, I want to do bungee jumping. क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Bungee jumping. Book jumping कर लो. एक बार have a story which every one of us wants to read.
That's so beautiful. Book jumping. I'm going to use that. Thank you, Aparna. Thank you for coming to Pay It Forward. I am so happy that I was able to do this with you. And of course, we will be doing another one much closer to the book launch. And we will be, looking back at this video and laughing our hearts out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Back. Now that's what I'm talking about. This conversation has been so insightful to me. I'm sure it has been to you as well. But for me, it has been a revelation how prepared Aparna is for all the events that are coming her way. And if there's one thing that I take away from this conversation is this: be prepared. Of course, there's no such thing as perfection, but you do what you can in the time that you've got, so that when you're finally there, when the book launch is happening, you are prepared mentally, financially, and all the other ways. Aparna, thank you so much for coming to Pay It Forward and sharing your journey with us. I wish you and your book baby all the best. This Labyrinth of Silence is going places. Alright, that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for joining us and listening to us blabber on for nearly an hour again. I know it is a long episode. These episodes tend to be a little bit longer. Of course, I know I can edit out a lot of portions from the video, but I don't want to, because that will cut out a lot of information and a lot of wealth of knowledge that these people have to share, and I don't want you guys to miss out. So stick with me, stick with my content. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for all your love and support. I'll see you next week. Until then, love and light to you. Bye bye.